Find the derivative of g of t equals t cubed times cosine of t minus 1 over t plus 4, then evaluate g prime of pi. G of t is made up of three terms. The first one is a product, t cubed, the first expression, times cosine of t, the second expression, minus 1 over t and plus 4. We can take the derivative of each of the terms separated by a addition or subtraction separately, but those that are multiplied we have to make use of the product rule. That'll be the first term. What I'm going to do with the second term, the negative 1 over t, is rewrite it as a negative exponent, move the t to the numerator, it'll be to the negative first power. Leave everything else alone. Now we can take the derivative, g prime of t. The first term will be the product rule. The derivative of the first expression, t cubed, will be a power rule, 3t squared. Bring the power down, subtract 1 from it, times the second left alone, plus the first left alone, t cubed, times the derivative of the second. Derivative of cosine is negative sine of t. That's all the derivative of just the first term. The second term will follow a power rule. We will bring the negative 1 down. Negative times a negative is a positive. T to the subtract 1 from its exponent. Negative 1 minus 1 will be a negative 2. And then the third term is a constant with no t. The derivative of that is a 0. Our next step here, I'm going to simplify the look of this. The first term we'll leave alone. The second term, we have two expressions multiplying each other. That negative will move to the front of it. Negative t cubed sine t. And then the third term, t to the negative 2, I'll rewrite in the denominator as a positive 2. That'll leave a 1 in the numerator, 1 over t squared. There's our derivative, g prime of t. Our next step is to evaluate g prime of pi. G prime of pi equals 3 times pi squared cosine of pi minus pi cubed sine of pi plus 1 over pi squared. Plug a pi in for each of the t's. 3 pi squared times the cosine of pi is a negative 1, minus pi cubed times the sine of pi is a 0, plus 1 over pi squared. So g prime of pi is equal to the first term, negative 3 pi squared. The second term, negative pi cubed times 0, will just be a 0, and then plus 1 over pi squared. Now it is possible to combine these over a common denominator, and we can do that here. We will need to multiply the first term by pi squared over pi squared. In the numerator, we will have pi squared times pi squared. You add the exponents, so that'll be pi to the 4th. All of this will be over pi squared, plus 1 over pi squared. They're now over a common denominator. We can combine them together. I'm going to write the positive term first, the 1, and then the minus 3 pi to the 4th second. The order doesn't matter as long as you keep the signs the same, and then it's over the common denominator of pi squared.